This is NR2003 Predicts. We take the entry list of NASCAR's top 3 series, send them through the ratings algorithm, and see who comes out on top. Here's a few tidbits to know heading in. The driver ratings are updated race by race to reflect the performance of that driver throughout the season, as well as at that specific track in recent years. The races are at 100% length and use normal tire and fuel wear. The starting lineup will match the real-life qualifying using the provisional starting order, not the one that includes drivers heading to the back. The weather will match the real-life start time data, and commentary will match the real-life scenarios, not the standings that will be posted at the end of the video. And as always, this series is for entertainment purposes only. Using artificial intelligence and using the results of this race for gambling purposes is discouraged. Looking at our Friday night truck race, Austin Hill barely going to hold off Grant Enfinger and Brandon Jones in a tightly contested battle. Sheldon Creed and Ross Chastain also making up the top 5. A solid run for Timmy Hill. Up in 14th place, probably a little disappointing for Stuart Friesen down in 23rd. And unfortunate for Zane Smith, had some problems early on and then got caught up in an accident. He'll finish in the 37th spot. And in the Saturday Xfinity race, going to end under caution after a late spin involving Myatt Snyder. Noah Gragson will be first to the line, followed by Chase Briscoe, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, and Ross Chastain. Mechanical problem for Harrison Burton, who was running in the second position. He's going to fall several spots on that final lap. Also some big contenders getting wrecked out. Daniel Hemrick, Kaz Grala, Brandon Jones, all going for wrecks in this one. Now let's head to the Thursday night main event. Kevin Harvick on the pole looking for another victory. Joey Logano to his outside. Green flag flying here at Kansas. Solid jump from Harvick. Almirola lines up just behind him, followed by Martin Truex Jr. looking to the inside early, trying to get the air off the 10 car and make a pass. Harvick very well done at this racetrack. Has a 9.8 average finish, just bested by Tyler Reddick, who made a start here last season. Got a 9th place finish, running a part-time schedule. His only start outside of Daytona that season. Finished second at Texas, trying to work his way up the field tonight. Jimmy Johnson, Harvick leading the way in the wins column. 3 victories for both of them and several winners in this field. 10 in total have a victory here at Kansas, and all of them trying to look for one here tonight. Martin Truex Jr. running up here in the top 5, and he has 8 of those here at this racetrack, just missing out on Johnson's mark at 9. Truex Jr. has 1 victory on the season at Martinsville, trying to look for his second. Trying to get some more playoff points to help him down the stretch. Harvick is still out in front. He is leading Kurt Busch by just about a second. Getting a little held up in lap traffic, and several top 10s here for him. The veterans leading the way. Another veteran here, Matt Kenseth. So quite a few laps here, and he's trying to work his way up the field, and obviously had a great run at the Brickyard, getting the runner-up, but unfortunately he is still trying to find his way up through the grid. You know, we have a problem here. Kurt Busch is heading down to the apron. He was just in front of his brother Kyle, running in the second position, but it looks like he now has a problem. And he's going to be headed to pit lane. Fortunately for him, that is going to be just around the time that we have green flag pit stops, but he's obviously going to lose a little bit of time running slow on the backstretch. Hamlin's going to come in first, and then it's going to be Kevin Harvick coming in later. There's a problem for Brad Keselowski. He is stuck on pit lane. Looks like he's stalled out. Unknown mechanical issue, but that is going to cost him several laps, and that will basically eliminate his chances of winning today. Harvick will be the first to the line, and Kurt Busch comes back from his mechanical issue, gets second place. Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin were around at the top 5, and how about Christopher Bell getting up there in the top 10? Coming to the restart, it's Kyle Busch up in second place, but you don't see the one on the leaderboard anymore. He has a mechanical issue. He has taken it behind the wall, and it looks like that might be the end of his night back in 40th place. But we're going to have a problem here. Eric Almirola gets to the outside wall, gets into his teammate Clint Bowyer, and then a ricochet chain reaction. Gets turned by Bell into his teammate Custer, and a big hit into the outside wall. That's going to collect several other cars. McLeod with damage. Jones, Nemechek, Byron, Custer also involved in that one, but Almirola on his lid, and man, he's taken a lot of big hits here at this racetrack. You'll remember that he got injured here a few years ago, kept him out of several races. while driving the 43. And that was quite the massive hit. While we get back to the restart, and Kyle Busch was out in front because Kevin Harvick came down for pit stops along with a few others, but some decided to stay out. Now we see Christopher Bell. How about the run that he's having? He got up there to second place. He could have a very solid day here tonight. But at the front of the field, Martin Truex Jr. getting caught in the lap traffic, and Kevin Harvick's going to storm back up to the front with his fresh rubber. Now taking a look at Alex Bowman, having a very solid run up in the top 5. And that's a very much needed shot in the arm for Hendrick Motorsports. Hasn't had a top 10 since the second Pocono race. The team has really been slouching as of late, but Bowman trying to put the team on his back right now, while Chase Elliott and Jimmy Johnson are still in the top 10, albeit one lap down. Looking at Truex Jr. from his onboard, and he's still hanging up with Kevin Harvick. Doesn't have quite the rubber that he has, but still maintaining the speed. And we see Austin Dillon, our most recent race winner. He's into the playoffs. Got the correct tire strategy at the end of the race. Obviously, a few circumstances led to that, but right now not quite running up to speed like he was last week. Truex Jr. going to come down the pit lane. Harvick will follow shortly after. Obviously, with Harvick taking the pit stop earlier, he is coming down a little bit later than Truex is. And he'll have to try to catch up to Truex Jr. by him taking those tires early. He gets a little bit of a time advantage, and he'll try to catch up, but it's going to be a little too late, and Truex Jr. will win the stage, followed by Harvick, DiBenedetto, Bowman, and Kyle Busch. Christopher Bell staying inside that top 10, gets the 8th place run, and Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson will round out the top 10, getting stage points. Back on the restart, and we have Truex out in front, followed by Harvick. Looks like no one came down for a pit stop. It looks like they're trying to make it on just one more stop. And Kyle Busch trying to fight his way up to the front, going to the inside of DiBenedetto, who got up to the runner-up spot. Busch still looking for his first victory of the season. Could this be the night that he gets it done? But we're going to have a problem here. Blaney gets in the outside wall, rebounds into McDowell, and 34 is going to go for a spin down on the apron. And it looks like there might have been a little contact there. And we say little, but there's smoke coming out of the 34 as well as the 78 who got hit. So McLeod's going to drop out of this race. On the restart, Busch still trailing Harvick, trying to see what we can do to get back up to him. Meanwhile, we see Hamlin here. He's trying to get his lap back. He has been caught a lap down and trying to see what he can do to stay in front of the 4-car. Hope that a caution comes out. That way he can start to make up time and maybe positions, but unfortunately for him, he's having some trouble staying in front of the 4-car, but he is trying to help out his teammate by fighting Harvick hard and keep the 18 in contention. Ryan Blaney, who had a good chance at winning that Texas race, he has some rear-end damage. Not sure exactly where that came from, as I believe he ended up missing that accident, that huge accident coming into turn 1 earlier. And all we see here, Kyle Busch coming down for his final pit stop. He's going to take it a little earlier than Kevin Harvick, who will follow down shortly after. Will that give Kyle Busch a time advantage? We will see. Looks like it will not, but we're going to have a problem here as Keselowski gets into Brendan Poole, trying to make a move to the outside. Poole did not expect him to utilize that lane, and that's going to send the 2-car around. And Keselowski's had multiple problems throughout the night staying on pit lane. He's multiple laps down. So obviously he wasn't contending for any position, but just trying to stay out on the racetrack, and he's going to get put into the wall. Harvick going to take the restart, but here comes Clint Bowyer, his teammate, looking for his first win of the season. He's coming to the outside of Martin Truex Jr. and making the pass. So what a move by Bowyer, trying to see what he can do to catch his teammate, go for that first victory. He's got Hamlin in his way. Hamlin's still a lap down, but right now, the 14 is gaining a little bit of speed, but it might be a little too late. White flag out. Harvick out in front. Bowyer to the inside of Hamlin and trying to make a last-ditch effort to win in his home state. Last week at Texas, Kevin Harvick started in place 5. He finished in place 5. He's looking for a win number 5. And it looks like right now, heading into turn 3, he has enough of an advantage over his teammate. As long as he doesn't have a problem coming to the corner, it looks like he is going to hang on to this one. A little bit of competition this race, but he is going to do it. Kevin Harvick wins here tonight at Kansas. few dramatics on a Thursday evening, but can't be really surprised when you have Kevin Harvick out in front. He is going to win the race with Clint Bowyer behind him, followed by Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Matt Benedetto. Denny Hamlin will finish just off the lead lap with Chase Elliott and Jimmy Johnson. Alex Bowman, great day for Hendrick, getting 3 inside the top 10. And Austin Dillon also pulls off the top 10 to follow up his victory at Texas. Christopher Bell had a solid night as well. He'll come home in 11th spot, and Ryan Blaney tried to work his way back up. He got to 12th place. Matt Kenseth 13th, solid for him. William Byron got caught up in that accident earlier. He'll finish in the 17th spot, still able to bring it home. A few guys that finished a little further down the field. Mike McDowell stayed on the racetrack, even though he was smoking earlier on. John Hunter Nemechek getting caught up in that big accident. He'll finish in 27th. Also see Priest in 23rd, which unfortunately for him is probably in the top half of his finishes on the year. Several big names at the bottom of the chart. Brad Keselowski with multiple problems, 15 laps down. Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola crashing out, and Kurt Busch with a problem at the end of Stage 1. That is it for NR2003 Predicts. We hope you enjoy the race, and we will see you all next time.